Hey, everybody, we're going for the finish line here. This is the final part in the Communication at the Movies series on F1, the movie. And it's all about the win. It's all about the desired outcome for that team is to get one win in the 9 races that remain in the season. In addition to that primary desired outcome, though, other people have desired outcomes that they need to achieve for themselves. And one of the really important things to think about here is everybody has their own desired outcomes. You have the organizational desired outcome, and then people have their own desired outcomes. Your teams and large organizations will have their own desired outcomes. And what's so critical is that all those desired outcomes are mutually supportive, and that the desired outcomes kind of lower down the org chart or in the food chain, that they are supporting achieving it for the organization, and that they're getting what they need out of the experience as well. And this is something that plays out very well in the movie, though it shifts. And this is one thing to keep in mind is, what those outcomes are can change while you're pursuing them, or some of the lower level, for lack of a better term, desired outcomes by other people, but they've got to remain to where they're contributing so that everybody works on it together. Rubin has the desired outcome. He needs to win to save his bacon, or he's going to lose a lot of money. He's going to lose the team. He's going to lose the faith of his investors. And that's what's driving the whole movie. Even though we're watching all these amazing racing scenes, the character development, the character interplay, it all falls back to getting that one win to save the team. Pearce, the rookie, is looking at, he wants to fulfill his potential as a Formula One driver. And so that's a lot of what he's focused on, especially at the front end. And, we see a really interesting character arc with him as well, while staying aligned with that desired outcome, and some maturation that occurs with that as well. Sonny's in an interesting position because he wants to help his buddy. He wants to help him keep his team. He gets into a conflict where he's asked to give up a position to the rookie, and he's like, "Don't ever ask me to do that." That's the racer in him coming out. So he has that desired outcome as well. But also he wants to help his, friend get out of the bind. And they need the win for that. Again, that overriding desired outcome. But he also takes the advice in the monologue from Kate to heart. And we see this blossom throughout the movie about teamwork being essential in F1. It's a development on Brad Pitt's character, who is the old veteran as well, in ways that he finds to support the team, to support the rookie driver, to advance trying to get to that desired outcome of getting the victory in the races that remain. It's not always an easy path. It's not a path that we always think we know what the steps are. Things can change midstream. And we have this inspiration from the monologue from Kate, and also matched with Sonny's past behaviors, and how does he evolve as a leader, as a mentor, as a communicator during this 2.5-hour movie. Kate's, her desired outcome, she wants to keep her job. She wants to prove that she's capable of doing a great job, as a technical director, that she can design a car that can win. And then what kind of brings it all together is Rubin, Javier Bardem's character, the owner, does really a masterful job of putting the pieces on the board. And then how do they work? How do they interact? Sonny comes in, and not only does he mentor the rookie driver, but in the context of that desired outcome, he's transforming the culture. We get back into the whole Plan C concept. There was a time in Formula One back in its early years where you had a lot of rebel teams. They were basically one-off teams that weren't these huge, well-funded teams, but they were putting together teams and going out there and racing. Um, Little independent teams, and it was kind of almost like the spirit of that, rising up again, and the competition, the taking into account what do we do to win. Plan C, that sounds kind of work. We know what's what we can do. We also get into the whole combat mantra and how that embeds itself, into the team. Focus on achieving that desired outcome, on getting that win. Now, with all this, what I think is probably the most important discussion, interaction between characters, and part of this is in the trailers, is during a pre-race team meeting, the rookie sits down and is like, we just need to go out there and do our thing and, hope for a lucky break. Well, Sonny doesn't quite see it that way. And he adds, hope is not a strategy. You have to make your breaks. And you can just kind of see the ripple throughout the team around the table, and especially with the rookie, like, whoa, where's this aggressiveness, this assertiveness coming from? And it's beginning to chip away at that culture of losing, which is what the team was. And we were a bunch of losers. And they're trying to just get that one step, that one victory, to where they're not that anymore. And after that comment kind of sinks in, the technical director, Kate, asked him, do you have anything else to add? And it's two words from Sonny: go fast. It sounds simple, but it gets down to one of the core things when we're pursuing desired outcomes, is that we need to be as good as we possibly can at what we do. And it's that skill that then communication sits on top of. Because you can be the best communicators on the planet, but if you're not delivering a desired outcome as a result, what the hell are you doing it for? There has to be a desired outcome connected to effective communication, because otherwise it's not achieving anything. We communicate, we mentor, we have these authentic conversations, we lead people towards a destination, achieving that desired outcome. And a lot of times these are very uncomfortable journeys, but when everybody knows what that desired outcome is, when the communications are honest and genuine and focused on that, when they're depersonalized as much as possible, that's not always possible, but when they're focused on that desired outcome, when people are mentoring and they're open to mentoring and being mentored, regardless of your level, that's when desired outcomes happen. That's when you achieve what you're working on. Instead of it, you can, cut the time to get there. You can benefit off of other people's input. It's not only the wisdom from the top down, it's the perspective and those little nuggets that you might get from places you never thought about. You see some character development, a lot of character development resulting from mentoring, resulting from these honest conversations. In addition to F1 just being a fantastic movie, it's a movie that theaters were made for. There's so much to learn here from a communications perspective, from a leadership perspective. If you're someone that's in a decision-making capacity, study it. Study these videos, kind of encapsulating everything in these 4 videos, especially the 3, the one on honest communication, mentoring, and this one here on desired outcome convergence. Because remember, everybody's going to have their agenda. It's what we do. How do they work together to support and help achieve that desired outcome, so that way your organization crosses that finish line first and you seize the checkered flag. Hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe to this if you found this interesting. Like the videos. We'll be back with another one if there's one that you want to see analyzed and discussed, drop it in the comments. Thanks again for joining us here at Communication at the Movies. I'm Chad Eaves. I'll see you next time.